You've probably heard about the recent controversy surrounding Matt Rife and his Netflix special. Instead of rehashing all that, we're going to talk about what's happened since then. If you want a little more information about Matt Rife and his beginning, recommend this video. Or you could watch a video by any other creator. I don't have a preference. So after all of that, a TikToker named Bunny Hadaya posted a stitch to one of Matt's jokes from the Netflix special.
Just because Jupiter has a ring and you don't, doesn't mean...
Saturn has rings. And it has more also, and you're mean to girls.
In response, did Matt search deep down for wisdom on what to say?
Matt Rife has decided to start beef with my 6-year-old child online.
Normally I'd be surprised to see a 28-year-old picking a fight with a 6-year-old, but I think Matt just really hates children, which made me start to wonder, who does Matt love? I got my answer when I saw which podcast Matt decided to go on after his Netflix controversy. The man who's one monocle away from being the Monopoly guy is Jordan Peterson. He's known for saying a few silly goose things on the internet. This podcast interview was lovely. I would describe this interview as like a party of flattery or like a circle jerk.
I'm a huge fan, man.
Oh, well,
I find you, listen, you and I have never met, but I find you to be a very kind man.
I actually learned that Matt got his manager from Twitter.
And then I got a manager at a comedy club in Atlanta. Over Twitter, believe it or not. It's the worst app. People who thrive on Twitter rarely do well in life.
I guess we can add that to the list of the things he hates, but were integral to his success.
Who makes up the bulk of your audience in your live shows?
It is women. My shows from October of last year till about March of this year were like 90% women.
Any idea why?
It's anybody's guess. You could say it's my face.
In typical Matt fashion, the first thing he offers to blame for his skewed demographics is his face. This is not the first time he blames his face for his struggles.
Good looking. I don't like it any more than you guys do, okay? This is not good for comedy, okay?
People don't want to laugh at like physically attractive people. Like you don't want to walk on stage and have people looking at your arms rather than listening to your joke.
Matt is the only comedian to have ever been plagued with beauty. Our thoughts and prayers are with him. I actually start talking about the joke.
One time I ate lunch there, and the hostess who seats you at the restaurant had a black eye. A full black eye. It wasn't like, what happened? It was pretty obvious what happened. We couldn't get over the fact, we were like, this is the face of the company? Like, this is what you have greeting people? And my boy who I was with was like, yeah, I feel bad for her, man. I feel like they should put her in the kitchen or something. We can open, we have to see her face, you know? And I was like, yeah, but I feel like if she could cook, she wouldn't have that black eye.
I thought that's what you did with the domestic violence joke.
Well,
and you added some nice kitchen-related misogyny to that very rapidly, which was good.
It's a modern twist on an old joke. You know what I mean? It was a real circumstance that happened. I'm sorry. An exaggerated instance that really happened, and I went, you know, this is a classic joke. Why not give my own personal modern twist on it?
Is that what we're calling really old things now?
Such a classic serial.
Do you have any guilt about the domestic violence joke? Which, by the way, I also thought was very funny.
Because it's a completely made-up story. Like, I went to one diner and a girl had like a little bruise under her eye, and it was like a conversational joke that happened at our table, and I went, this is crazy.
Oh my gosh, I'm so embarrassed. I didn't realize that a woman having a black eye because of domestic violence was an exaggeration. I thought it was like a shockingly common thing and a plague upon our society. The cartoon for capitalism got so close so many times.
Obviously, domestic violence is a terrible thing, and there's nothing funny about someone with a black eye, except under very restricted circumstances.
And then completely missed the point.
But being able to see, one of the things that you do when you set up a terrible scenario and then you make a joke about it is, first of all, you signal to the audience that you understand that this was a terrible scenario.
Mm-hmm.
And then you signal that even though you know it was a terrible scenario, there's part of you that can rise above it and transcend.
What?
Whether you enjoy what I do or not, you don't even have to know it exists. If I'm your problem, if you and I are face to face and you have a problem with my comedy that I tell, that I admit to the world, right? If you just remove yourself from me, if you do something as simple as just turn around, there is an entire planet behind you.
Para las víctimas de violencia doméstica, no ser tomadas en serio es un problema enorme, y cuando los comediantes hacen bromas que trivializan el tema, empeoran directamente la situación. Esto perpetúa una cultura que minimiza las experiencias de las víctimas, sea que el comediante lo quiera o no.
That's like someone peeing in the corner of a pool and then asking everyone to be cool with it just because like it happened over there.
I would say dark comedy is probably the most misunderstood forms of comedy.
The fact that Matt Rife's fans often defend his jokes by claiming that critics simply don't understand dark comedy actually shows that they don't understand dark comedy, and they definitely don't understand the difference between dark comedy and shock comedy. Embarrassing.
Especially tragic is that there aren't any good examples out of comics handling taboo topics in an interesting way.
couldn't work for a while. I took about a year and a half off of work because I went mental. And I don't know if anyone here is thinking of suicide. Don't do it. It's not the season for it. Late fall. And
religion has actually convinced people that there's an invisible man living in the sky who watches everything you do every minute of every day. And the invisible man has a special list of 10 things he does not want you to do. And if you do any of these 10 things, he has a special place full of fire and smoke and burning and torture and anguish where he will send you to live and suffer and burn and choke and scream and cry forever and ever till the end of time. But he loves you.
Give me something to talk about. Maybe something I know a lot about so I can really go into it.
9/11.
Oh, dude. You, man. That's f***ed up what you just said, dude. I'm a millennial, dude. I remember that. Like, most people in here are of age where you remember, like, where you were when you first heard about 9/11. That's how serious that was for us. Like, I'll never forget. When I first heard about 9/11, it was September 5th, 2001. I was in a cave in Pakistan, and I was just like, no. This is a bad idea, guys. This is a bad idea. I can't be a part of this. And I left that cave. And I came straight to America, and I got in really easily because it was before 9/11, but I did my part. I called up the Bush administration. I was like, yo, you guys need to know about this. It's going down. It's an attack. They're like, we already know it's an inside job. Do you want to help? I was like, no, I want to help. What is wrong with you? It hurts. Like, when you say something like that, it just hurts. Yo, just because I look like this doesn't mean I love my country any less than anybody in here. You remember that shit. God bless America, and never forget 9/5.
Getting a double mastectomy. And before I had a double mastectomy, I was already pretty flat-chested. And I made so many jokes over the years about how small my chest was that I started to think that maybe my boobs overheard me. And were just like, you know what? We're sick of this. Let's kill her.
These are the men that are trying to change the narrative of the Me Too movement, and they're doing it in a very, very intelligent way. They're doing it via deflection. They're bringing up things that are important but not necessary to what the discussion is about. They'll say things like, what about men? Men get sexually assaulted too. Yes, they do. By men. 84% of male sexual assault survivors were sexually assaulted by men. Well, what about all the false allegations? Well, less than 1% of rape allegations are ever false. Well, it's a witch hunt. It's a bloody witch hunt. Well, it's not. Mainly because witches didn't exist. That's why witch hunts were shitty. Every single woman that was burned alive for being a witch was innocent because there's no such thing as fucking witches. There are such things as rapists. It's not like in 200 years' time we're going to find out that rapists were also mythical creatures. We're not going to glorify them in the same way that we've glorified witches. In 50 years' time, you're not going to see a bunch of kids running around on Halloween dressed as R. Kelly.
I have gained more fans than I have lost across all platforms.
You probably brought your work to the attention of a whole demographic that wouldn't have necessarily known who you were.
So many people commenting, I didn't know who this kid was. I actually didn't like him before, but I like this joke that he told.
Which makes total sense, right? Because while the women in TikTok were busy launching him into success, his real audience was busy trying to log onto Facebook with their rotary phone. You know what though? I'm really glad they found each other because I think they're kind of perfect for each other. Let me know if you have a favorite comic that tends to do dark comedy. Not shock comedy, not racista. Thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe. Like and subscribe. This is Gary Leonard with your 5 o'clock news. Could you say that you hate puppies and baby seals?